Suppose we wanted to go about the transition downwind with considerably less altitude. Again, I don't suggest this, but I want to go and show how the variables change when we go about a jump with less margin. And so in this case, we're going and floating up along the Catfish Ridge, and we're looking at making the jump. And suppose we only get to 1,700 feet. Again, all the stages apply. First is we're floating up. Now we're not doing that to the same degree. Next is we're going to find our line. And so, and suppose right about here is where it stops working. And so we go and we found the closest point to making our jump, and we go for it. At this point, we have now committed to the transition. We can't turn around and go back because we're probably not going to have enough height. So we just go for the corner. Now, note the situation here, right? So as we're going along, we're aiming for the nearest point on the ridge. There's a sea of trees underneath us, and the field at the base of the ridge, which is our out. Now, that basically, if we get there at ridgetop, we can still turn around and get through the corner there. But that's really, really, it's pretty intimidating, and for good reason. If we hit some sink, I mean, we're totally committed to this jump. And it's either we're going to get across at ridgetop, or we're going to go and go for our out. And so, in this case, we just made it across, and I'm going to show what that side picture looks like. So, here we are, just a little bit above ridgetop. Put yourself another 150 feet lower, and just see how those trees are just going to rise right up in the canopy right there. And so, in the case of the downwind transition, the altitude was sufficient in this case, but you can see just how close the margins are between a couple hundred feet. The first time we got across about 400 feet higher, and I mean it just the side picture looked great, and it was really simple and great and easy. But in this case, we got across, and we got across just about just barely with enough to spare. And put yourself in the same situation if you hit a whole bunch more sink, and you're now, instead of 1,650 feet, but down to 1,450 feet or something like that. And at that point, your ability to get to your landing option is either going to be very marginal or non-existent. So again, this kind of goes back to the overall point that how we go about these jumps, that a couple hundred feet here and there makes a really, really, really big difference. And so, especially when you're starting out and you're figuring things out and you're figuring out how to go about these jumps and figuring out how the air works and things like that, be very mindful of what your options are and what your energy is. And a couple hundred feet plus or minus goes a very long way in these situations.